I realized that we are a little bit on a slant. That's because I'm using a tray on top of a section of the couch. The lighting faces this way, but it's a little hard to vibe with. Oh my god, I forgot my dog. I was gonna do this video while I was crocheting this top. I ended up finishing it while hanging out with the family. I just like to, first thing that came to mind was dissociate while I'm around them sometimes. Instead, here it is. Here's the final product. I know I'm wearing some sweatpants with it. Okay, ignore it. Just wanted to make a cute staple black top. I have yet to make one to add to my handmade wardrobe. Also, this yarn matches the little string for my maxi skirt. I wanted to use the rest of the yarn for that, and only one skein of yarn made this for me. It's so cute. Altered a bit from the tutorial that I was following. I wanted to stitch the two sides together, tighten it through the straps itself. She is a little bit on the looser side. The front here actually went all the way down to here, and there was just way too much boobage with that. I really do love to show off some parts of my tattoo here. If you are hearing some pitter patters on the floor, those are my family's dogs. Almost feels weird that I'm not crocheting with this. It's been a minute since I've just straight talked about a topic. I currently also don't have any yarn to be working with right now. I also didn't want to wait till I got some new yarn before this project, only to keep up with the flow I have going on. I've been really proud that I've been dropping 2 YouTube videos a week. That's actually a goal of mine. It helps make me feel like I'm heading towards something when it comes to my YouTube. For a long while, like a good year and a half, maybe even the first 2 years of it, I was treating my YouTube as straight up a digital journal. I didn't have expectations for monetization of much for my YouTube. I just wanted to post. I still don't even want to add the AdSense thing onto my videos. I just find them so annoying and honestly not worth it. Ads piss me off, so I don't want people to see ads when they're watching my videos. I would rather just have it straight through. We're gonna jump in to 7 benefits I wrote about validation. Number 1, it's a building block and foundation for confidence. Though self-validation is key for this part, having validation from your community, from your friends, from your family, helps one feel seen and included. Number 2, it highlights someone as an individual. It's very easy to get lost in wanting to fit in and keep up with the outside noise, external environment, but doing that loses your own perspective on your own path and what actually makes you happy. 3, it shows understanding to someone else's feelings and experiences. Despite having your own perspective on what the situation may be, showing that kind of emotional support does create a stronger relationship. 4, it allows someone to feel heard and to feel seen. When you do that, it helps someone open up. And continuously, I want to speak on a personal experience with that. The more I kept feeling shut down on my own experiences and feelings, the less I wanted to talk to someone else about that, especially that person. Say I'm talking to friend A and they're constantly talking over me. They're invalidating my experience. They're saying, oh, everybody has that. Oh, that's not a big deal. That will for sure make me not want to talk the same way to that person. It feels like I lost some trust in that. Sure, lots of people do go through the same things as what is happening in that experience, but it is one of the most invalidating things to say when you're like, oh, everybody goes through that. It's very invalidating. If you do say that to someone, I suggest you stop. I guarantee you would not like that thrown back at you when you're trying to open up about something. The opposite of depression is expression. So you wouldn't want someone stuck in what's keeping them sad, stuck in what's keeping them low. You want them to express these things if you care about them. 5, I need something. 5, validation allows someone to feel taken seriously. The more someone does get dismissed, the more inauthentic the connection actually is. this can influence that person to stop taking things seriously themselves. And that is actually a huge personal experience of mine as well. For example, anything that actually brought me happiness and joy, which is actually being in a creative space and mindset, the more I got dismissed because of that, the more I didn't even take that side of me seriously anymore. I grew up loving to sing, dancing. I love to color on a lot of things. And the more that my family didn't care about those things, I stopped trying to pursue those things. Whenever I came up with creative ideas on how to make more friends nights more fun by wanting to try games out, different things other than constantly partying, I got dismissed a lot because of that. And then I stopped caring about making more fun for my friends. Even most recently, when I began to crochet, I'm on my crochet journey now for almost 2 years. My first project ever was a crochet queen-sized blanket. Even the person who taught me how to crochet, I felt invalidated my own skills from him. It kind of sparked something out of me where nobody takes my crochet seriously. Maybe I shouldn't either. After making my first blanket, I kind of stopped crocheting. I stopped crocheting for a few months. It can really be the people who taught you these things or just the people that you're around that can dismiss your skill. Maybe they think that you outgrew what they taught you. That's how I felt about my crochet teacher. Maybe they feel like they can never do what you're doing, so they're just gonna not care about it at all. And that kind of energy, if you're surrounded by it and you don't have the building block of confidence to pursue it anyways, you might completely drop the whole thing. And that's what happened with me. If you really do care about a person, you want to encourage them towards what makes them happy. Yes, we live in a capitalistic world and it's easy to be like, but are you making anything out of that? Are you making money out of that? Is this amounting to anything? Is your happiness amounting to anything? What's the point of putting effort into that? It's so easy to project that onto people because of the society we're currently living in, but also because of the society we're living in, we are missing so much easy general happiness, which is just those smaller things. If you're a creative, I'm speaking as a creative to you, please keep creating. It doesn't matter if it's making you money. It doesn't matter what the outside world is saying. I validate the fact that your creation is making you happy. So please tell me about it. I would love to know if you're doing anything like that. Seeing people in creations and a creative flow, for me, no matter what it is, excites me. Especially when it's not creative endeavors that I'm pursuing myself. I have my hands in crocheting, YouTube, editing, vlogging, writing in my novel. I actually think of my writing in general as a creative endeavor. There's so many more creative stuff I'm not doing myself. So when I hear about it, oh, I love it. So please tell me what you're working on. Quick little tangent, but we're on to number 6. It helps someone see shine in their strengths. Because what you put more time and effort into, the more you'll be good at that, especially if it's with intention. Because there's one thing to put so much time and effort into a job you don't like and see that you're not growing in that because you don't love it. You're not actually putting intention into it. Most of the time, when you're at a job you don't like, you go on autopilot. That's not being intentional. That's not even being present. When you're creating something, you want to be actively thinking about it. When you keep actively thinking about something you're putting focus on, you will get better at it over time. That's just something that happens with perseverance. These creations do come with their own struggles. For example, with crochet, I didn't just become a crochet expert after making the blanket. There was so many terminology, there were so many patterns and ways of doing things that I didn't know yet. I wanted to keep learning because I already finished one level of it. We are all good at something, and it's so helpful to have someone's efforts and energy have a spotlight. Especially when you're working in a team, it's so helpful and beneficial if you keep highlighting each other's strengths. If you're in a team, you're working with other people who are good at more things in one area than you, and then you have your own skill set to bring to the team. Teams that operate on a group mindset where everybody has to think the exact same is only helpful in oppressive and laborious jobs. Follow the alpha kind of job. This is when one person, the manager, is telling you to think and do exactly like them. That's not helpful for a team long term. That is one of the biggest reasons for high turnovers at jobs. The person in charge expects everybody to do and think like them. Number 7, validation shows respect and equality. If you're gonna repress the opportunity to give someone else a compliment, a praise, or spotlight, it genuinely shows the lack mindset you have. It also shows a pedestal mindset. If you're not gonna share that little small bit of energy just to compliment someone else, you want to stay up here mentally. Or you could be on the other end where you think your compliment will make that person be above you. That's not equal. It really does not take anything from you to give someone else a compliment. Really, what is it going to take from you to just say, wow, that is amazing crocheted clothes. Wow, you performed that whole dance. You performed that whole song in front of a crowd. Wow. Wow, you wrote that whole book? You made that whole skit up? You mastered juggling the yo-yo in that kind of way? That's so cool. It's really not hard. I genuinely believe that if it's hard for you to validate someone else's joy, it's because you genuinely don't feel like there's any within you. I will also speak on a personal experience of mine when it comes to that. When I didn't have any confidence, when I felt like nobody cared if I did anything different from the status quo, it was really hard for me to compliment people who I wanted the same type of vibe as. For example, I did love singing growing up, but because I felt like nobody cared that I wanted to get into singing, nobody cared that I liked to sing at all. Whenever I went to karaoke with my friends, I would not be one of the singers. And if I did have the mic, I would make those joking singing noise. Like I wouldn't even take myself seriously. I wouldn't even try. I would either screech, I would just make funny noises. When I gave the mic to people who did love singing, I could only cheer them on if I was drunk. It really stung a chord every time to hear one of my friends sing. And then especially if I liked it, it was so hard for me to compliment because it felt like, damn, I want to be like that. I want to be able to do that. So I took it upon myself and projected it on my friend. And that sucks. It really had to take something else for me to be able to do that. I completely understand if you feel like there's something lacking within you that makes it hard for you to bring it outwards to other people. I do give compassion to that, especially to the older self of mine. Just know where it comes from when you're unable to give someone else a compliment. Those were the 7 benefits I wrote. I do have a resource on where some of this came from down below in the comments. Now I'm going to get into a little bit of my Leo sun sign astrology. The Leo archetype itself is the expression of the inner child, is the expression of emotions in general. It can range from being someone like a class clown to someone who sits regal on the throne, someone who only expresses through the inner child with happiness, with joy, with that bubbly, charismatic, optimistic energy. Either way, the Leo archetype will strive to have their emotions expressed limitlessly. And through that always comes some type of creative ability. When you're working on something big and grand, like Leos often do, they strive for really big things. For example, Bretman Rock. I can't speak on his experience, whether he is receiving this kind of validation or not, but if you do highlight someone who is putting so much effort into what makes them happy, it just keeps them happier. There's stigma around validation when it comes to, oh, if I compliment that person, they're gonna get a big head. While that might be true for some people, and if you do think that way, that if you give praise to someone else and they're gonna have a big head, you would. That would happen to you. For someone like me who knows that they are putting in so much effort towards all these things, it doesn't hurt me. And my big ego to say, you're doing really good at that. It would actually make me feel very included. Every time I felt very invalidated on my experiences or creations, I never felt included around the people I was around. It's easy to project, oh, why do they have so much support and fans for doing nothing? But here I am doing something and I'm not getting anything out of it. First, are you validating your own experiences? The negative stigma around validation generally comes back to the balance of your ego and your intentions. Someone who is genuinely creating something is doing it out of intention. They're not doing it to have a fan base. That comes with it sometimes. If someone is genuinely focused on their craft and creations, they're not worried about pleasing other people. They're worried about pleasing themselves. And this is gonna follow into second segment of this, which is stop making excuses for people who are not ready to be seen. When you have a set foundation of confidence and you know how to self-validate, there will be people put off by it who do not carry this skill set or care to build this skill set. It will feel so tempting to encourage others to feel how you feel, to try to accomplish bigger things, to encourage them to strive towards their own dreams. But just because you see the potential in them, like you do yourself, they might not be ready to see themselves that way. Here's a personal example. When I first started sharing my life on social media, friends I had for years before that would be included on my Instagram stories, in my TikToks, in my YouTube. I felt completely comfortable being on camera, sharing my true opinions and sharing my energy, just as I do in front of them. If you put a camera in front of me now and then take it away, I still act the exact same. And this has been true for me since I started social media. A side note of that, it's always because I felt like if you're gonna be fake in any way, that can catch up to you. And I just never felt the point of that. What's the point of lying about a portion of who you are? What if one day years pass by and someone's like, that person was not like that before? I never wanted that kind of energy for myself. As emotional as I am, as angry as I can get, overexposed I was making my thoughts to be, they were all still true for me. Back to the story. My friends only showed on camera what they wanted other people to see. Not the full version that I saw off camera. I genuinely remember thinking sometimes, why aren't they being louder? Why aren't they confidently speaking their mind like they did just 5 minutes ago before the camera went on? If someone else is not living authentically, they will naturally be put off by people authentic. It's easy to see how someone is this way, actually. If they feel comfortable hiding their truths on camera, intentions and feelings, why wouldn't they be the same way off camera? Of course, there's one thing to be private. It's good to not overshare. I can't say that in the beginning. In the beginning, I definitely overshared a lot of my life, but that's because I just felt like nobody in my reality was listening to me. Being on camera felt like the opportunity that someone was listening, even if it was a stranger, even if it was just one viewer that was genuinely listening to me. I much preferred that than speaking to the people I knew and having it not, most of the times it was overlooked, and I did not appreciate that kind of feeling. If these people are very comfortable hiding their truths, they will be put off by you being real and proud of your truths. I used to be surrounded by people who had the energy of, I'm a bad bitch, I'm so confident, I can fuck anybody up. And then as soon as the camera went on, they're like, yeah, that's pretty cool. Oh yeah. Like just more agreeable with me, not really saying anything of their own. Something's weird. These people will also be the first ones to dim down your shine. They will be the first ones to invalidate you. It genuinely took letting them all go and a lot of self-love healing through many years for me to realize that if people are not ready to even validate their own experiences, they will sure as hell not validate yours. It might not always be about you if someone doesn't validate your stuff, but that's also very telling of who you should have around you. You don't want to be constantly surrounded by someone who doesn't even see their own stuff, who doesn't even want to shine. Not everyone has to be in front of a camera. But if they don't even want to get to know their own strengths or put in effort to making a strength of theirs, when they see you owning yours, they will invalidate that because it's just a projection of how they're feeling. Someone who presents as an op to you in the beginning stages of your creations, time and effort into something, will remain one over time. There's no length of time where they're gonna suddenly start encouraging you, especially if they're not evolving in their own life. They're not gonna all of a sudden encourage you when you do bigger, when you do better. They'll become a leech. They'll be like, oh, I was here as your friend for years. I'm entitled to this fame, this money, this recognition that you're getting because I'm your friend. Op to you in the beginning will remain an op to you. Personally, I've learned to let people go the moment that I feel like there could be potential in a connection or a friendship. But when I show what makes me happy, say I just finished a clothing item. This actually happened to me in Reno. I was showing my clothes to someone. All the response they gave to me was, oh, that's cool. That's when I instantly knew that my creations did not feel safe around this person and that I didn't even want to share anything else that I was creating. And from that moment, I was like, what's the point of having them around in my close circle, especially? Or even at all. A couple months passed, they ghosted me. They didn't want to hear anything from me. And this is someone I genuinely thought would stay in my life. Another big example, someone isn't happy for what you're doing or creating. As soon as you tell them something you're doing, they instantly start telling you about what they're doing without even mentioning anything about what you just said. Like they didn't even give a genuine reply. No congrats, no good job. Just instantly, oh, but this is what I'm doing. You don't want to be around that. You don't. Because if someone's really quick to do that to you, they're already overlooking you. This is out of envy, feeling unworthy within how they spend their own time. And again, that's not someone for you. You don't want to constantly be proving your time, efforts, and energy to people who don't care. In my past, I had friends who would only recognize what I was doing when, say, a friend of a friend or someone we didn't see that often, we hung out around them and they were like, oh, you're doing really good at this. I see that you're doing this. And then that person, my friend, jumps in and is like, oh my God, yeah, she's so good at doing this. For example, when I started my OnlyFans, I genuinely took that as a creative endeavor. I wanted to see it as that. I loved taking pictures. I thought the way that I took these spicy photos, and when I started out, it wasn't nude at all. There were lingerie photos. At the beginning, when I was taking these photos, I genuinely loved my creative eye. I didn't take just, one pose, same background for every single picture. I made sure that every picture looked different from each other. I thought that my bad bitch friends would like it too, because they were already talking so highly about sexual energy, their sex lives. Oh, I have a huge roster. Oh, I love to do this. I love to do that. So when I got into OnlyFans, I thought, okay, I'm in a decent group to be open to that. The only time I would hear a compliment from my friends was when I hung out with other people who I didn't hang out with every week. And they would be like, you take really good photos. And I'm like, wow, thanks. And that's when my friend would be like, oh yeah, she really does. Op. I say all this to say, if you are in any connection, validation is super important. If you're not able to genuinely cheer someone on in what they're doing, why are you around them? What do you want from that person? For them to constantly give that energy to you? Or for you both to stay stuck at the same level? Especially if it's at a level where it's not elevating, uplifting, or even happy. If someone is starting to pursue something that makes them happy, why are you shutting it down? Why are you around them? If you genuinely want connection to work for you, validate the other person and validate yourself. Every experience you have, every feeling, anything you're working on, validate. That is very important to sustain a connection and to see if it's a genuine one, if it's based off being real. When I'm able to tell even a random stranger, what they're doing is amazing, and I see them light up just from a simple compliment of mine, that makes me happy. People who know how to shine in their own strengths love, love to give that out. It's equal. It feels good. Takes 30 seconds to do. Thank you so much for listening to my take on the importance of validation and to stop making excuses for people who are not ready to be seen. It's okay if you guys were at a similar level once and you resonated with a lot of the same point of views once. That's something to recognize. That's something to be grateful for that season. But now, if you feel like you're going beyond and you require something different, you require different in connections, that's okay. I validate you in that. I validate you changed your mind. Simply that you changed your mind. And it's okay to change your mind. If changing your mind comes with changing your environment, changing your connections, I validate that for you. It happens. Most of the times when you listen to successful people, especially from what they've created themselves, they will always say that they had to move, that they had to have breakups with friends, family, partners to get to where they are. So if you're feeling a little bit stuck on what you're trying to pursue, look at your environment first. See if someone is trying to make you feel stuck, as they do. They feel stuck. You can only do so much to encourage someone to go towards their own strengths. I've learned that the hard way. I validate that experience for you. I appreciate your time. I hope this helps in any way. If you have any more pointers about validation, or if you want to share any of your experiences on coming into this confidence, or any questions about it, please drop them below. Know that a stranger on the internet is validating your experiences. If you feel like you have to get super angry, super sad, super depressed, super low to feel super high, I validate that for you. Things change. We all change, and I validate that. See you in the next video. Thank you for making it to the end. I really appreciate it.